is Straight Facts, and we back. You already know I'm Dre, and today I got a guest co-host for the first time on Straight Facts. I got my homegirl, Sydney, a.k.a. Nipleds. And for the people who don't know, let everybody know who you are and what you do. You do a lot.
My name is Sydney. I have a brand. It's called Nipleds. That's probably how most of y'all know me. But I also have an organization called Artist Talk Mental Health. So I work with a lot of Black artists in the city. Do some programming, some event series, some panel discussions that the person we're interviewing is going to be in eventually.
Stop playing.
So that's what I do, amongst other things. But I'm just out here in the community, trying to connect with artists and do my thing.
Grinding, hustling. You know what I'm saying? I've been trying to get you on for a minute. I'm glad I got you on for this episode, the co-host. And the actual guest I got today, I got a real special guest, you know what I'm saying? And just to give y'all like a background, so the guy's blowing up all over social media, IG, Facebook. He's been around for a minute, and he had a jitney reel or clip on Instagram that I saw. I said, oh man, I got to get this dude on the podcast. We got Jay Ruff Bone White in the building.
What's cracking? Jay Ruff Bone White. Pittsburgh representative. Grew up in Belle Suver, preferably Indo Street. That's where I'm from, in Belle Suver.
Okay.
Filmmaker, content creator. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm like, when you get older as a man, you just wear a lot of hats. You know what I mean? So I just try to just build the city of Pittsburgh up. Not try. That's what I do. You know what I mean? I'm just here to help build my city up. You know what I mean? Any way I can. So that's basically, in a nutshell, short and sweet.
I like that. So I'm going to tell everybody and tell y'all how I end up seeing your Instagram and found out who you were. So, I be on Instagram all the time, and I seen your jitney video about jitneys. So people who don't know, a jitney is basically like or it used to be, I don't know if there's still any jitneys around now.
Yeah, there is.
Are there all?
There's still stations.
They down at the Giant Eagle in Southside.
No, there's still stations. There's a station on the hill. There's a station in Homestead. There's a station probably still in Homewood. There's still jitney stations.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So basically a jitney is like a hood cab. Before Ubers, before Lyfts, there was jitneys in Pittsburgh, you know what I'm saying? And it didn't cost too much, and, they was real reliable, and I ain't gonna lie, I might catch a jitney one day just for the hell of it. You know what I'm
nostalgia.
swear. But he had a jitney video that went viral talking about jitneys, what they are, and just different stories about them. I'm like, oh, okay, I like this. And every day he would pretty much bring out a video called Hoodberg Slang, pretty much talking about a slang word that either we used to use or that we still use in Pittsburgh. So every day I would look forward to the Hoodberg slangs. And next thing you know, I would just see so many nostalgic videos. I said, man, I got to get this dude on. Not because he was blowing up, but that too, but because I also like his content. Mm-hmm. So, you said you're from Belle Suver.
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
Tell the audience pretty much, give it like a quick background of your upbringing and how you grew up.
So I grew up, my mom and dad was basically kids when they had me. You know what I mean? My mom had me at 17, my dad was 17. So I was born in 79. So you got to think my granddad was a reverend. So my dad ended up knocking the preacher's daughter up. You know what I mean? My mom was the preacher's daughter. Okay. You know what I mean? That was kind of like, wow, in that era. So, but I had a lot of love. So I was like one of the first people born from my dad's generation that had kids. You know what I mean? My dad's friends and all them. So I had a lot of love in the neighborhood. I was like the first baby born from that generation. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I always had love. I always had a lot of people who looked at me in the community just growing up. Even when I was in the streets, there was still a lot of people like, man, little Jay, whatever. Yeah. But I grew up, in the church. My granddad was a reverend. I lived with my grandma and granddad basically my whole life. You know what I mean? Because my mom was so young when she had me. We always kind of stayed with my grandma and granddad. And just growing up in a church household was different. It was strict. We didn't really listen to music in the crib. Like my granddad worked on the railroad. You know what I mean? My grandma was a stay-at-home mom, but they originally came from Elmore Square. You know what I mean? My mom and all them, they originally from Elmore Square. My granddad made money and they got them out of the projects and they bought a house in Belle Suver. You know what I mean? So they moved to Belle Suver. But my uncles and them, they was a little older, like teenagers. They didn't like living in Belle Suver because it was bougie.
Now, I got a question. I just wanted to ask you that.
Belle Suver was bougie?
I was going to ask, who was Belle Suver like back then?
Belle Suver, it was a great community, bro, before crack, bro. Everybody owned their house. Belsuver still to this day is one of the most home ownerships of black communities in the city of Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly everybody in Belsuver owned their house, bro. So you got to think the whole South Side is all white people except for Belsuver.
Yeah.
And you had 2 projects, Arlington and St. Clair. So you had to have money to live in Belsuver.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you wasn't know where you moved because that's the only predominant black neighborhood on the South Side, and it was 2 projects.
But Arlington, ain't Arlington like
That's projects.
Yeah.
Okay.
Arlington and St. Clair's projects. Belsuver is a neighborhood. So you had to have money to be over there.
See, I ain't from the South. I always thought Arlington was his own neighborhood.
My uncle got a house in Belsuver, and I didn't even think about it, but most of the people that live
They
around
own
him
houses.
are black, and they own their property.
Everybody
right?
owned houses in Belsuver. We had like 10 bars. We had stores. We had everything. You know what I mean? So then, you know, once crack hit, boom, you start seeing a little shift. And, you know what I mean? People start getting shot and killed. And, you know, me in the 80s, I got to see what a community looked like before crack. Some of y'all probably didn't. You know what I mean? Because y'all are young. So y'all never got to see what a community felt like, where everybody was together. Like if you needed something, you could go next door to this family. Everybody was together. You know what I mean? Everybody, it was a totally different. It was a totally different environment. But I'm a kid seeing this. You know what I mean? So there was still drugs and stuff going on, but I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing like, hey, I could go to Miss Jones's crib, and other people's mom can whoop you when you back in the day.
The community looking out for you. It was
a village. As they say, it was a
a
village, yo. So that was like a whole dynamic, me being able to see that. So I always knew that one day we could get back to community because I seen it. You know what I mean? I seen it before drugs. I seen it before gang banging. You know what I mean? Once crack hit, then the gang banging hit. I'm 12 years old. You know what I mean? Like I said, in one of my stories, I said I went downtown. My first interaction. I was like 12 years old. It was like 92. I was like 13. It was like 92, early 92. That's why the gangs started coming like into 91, beginning of 92. It wasn't everywhere. It was like Homewood and the East Side. Then it started spreading. And I went downtown with a red Chicago Bulls shirt on, and dude made me turn my shirt inside out.
Yeah. I seen that video. I was like, man.
I was a little kid. I was a little kid, bro.
So
he was like a grown man to me. He might have been 16, but to me, he was a grown man. I was walking right on Wood Street. So you start to see the shift in culture. So you got to think, dudes is going from playing with G.I. Joes at 12, 13, and playing video games to full-fledged gangbangers. You know what I mean? In like a 6-month span. You know what I mean? It's like, now you can't go to this neighborhood. Now I can't go here.
What brought that wave in?
Homewood. Some dudes from Homewood brought some.
And that's where
they brought the Crip stuff from out L.A. and they brought it to Homewood.
Okay.
But there's still, back in the day, there was posses and stuff like that, but they wasn't like full-fledged color gangbanging. No, that wasn't.
They always say Homewood was the first.
Yeah, that was the first gang.
On the East Coast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I knew it.
It was Homewood, and then it started spreading, and Larmer was like, well, they ain't really like Homewood or them, so they made their own gang hoods, and then Wilkinsburg became hoods, and then Garfield became Bloods, and East Hills became Bloods, and it just spread. Lincoln became Crips. So it just started spreading to the north side, the south side, the west side, and it just spread. And the Hill was this, you know what I mean? So it just spread like wildfire. And then they didn't know what to do. Like, it was like you in school, and then summer school, like 93 was like the worst summer school ever. Because that was like, soon as gangbanging hit, everybody had to go to Shinley. So you got to think every school had to go to that summer school.
All of the schools went to
Every school went to the same school.
Wow, that
you
sounds
know
wild.
what's so funny? You say this about the whole shirt with the red. I remember at the time, my aunt was telling me not too long ago, she was like, she had left Pittsburgh in the 80s. She came back like, I think like 93, 94, and she was saying to my older cousins, when they got her from the airport, said, look, take that red shirt off. She was like, wow, they told her about the gangs and everything, and it was like, will I get jumped, will I get shot? I was like, yes.
Yeah.
They told her to get
it was real,
shirt. So yeah, and it was definitely real back then. But yeah, it definitely started at Homewood. By the way, I'm from Homewood, you know what I'm saying? So next, how did you get into film? What like intrigued you about film and made you want to, dive into film? So there's I got really like 3 stories, but I'm gonna sum them up kind of fast. So my granddad used to do a lot of missionary work. I told you my granddad was a reverend, right? So my granddad would go to Africa. And my granddad used to always have video cameras. He used to have the big joints with the VCR tapes in them. So he would take it to Africa when he would do mission. My granddad built schools in Africa and everything. He'd been over there like 20 times. Wow. So he'd been to like, I don't even call them countries, I call them nations, because every part of Africa is really its own nation. Africa is so big, but on the map they show you, they make it like it's
the same size as everything, but it's probably 3-4 times bigger than every other continent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So on the map they show it, but so he's been over there so many times, and he would film over there, and he would come back with the tapes and stuff like that. And I would like to watch the tapes, but also when we used to have family dinners on Thanksgiving, he would set the camera up and just let it run. So I always would mess with the little buttons and stuff
that.
like that.
Me too,
Yeah.
like-
So yeah, he would film our family dinners. This is in the 80s. You know what I mean? He just had cameras. And then as I got older, like when I was like I was like 19, 20. I was about 21. I would buy little mini DV cameras.
So what around like was this late 90s, mid 90s?
Well, my granddad used to film. That was in the 80s.
No, saying when you.
So yeah, this was late 90s, early 2000 when I started messing with a camera. You know what I mean? But I didn't have like editing software or nothing. I would just film in the hood and shit like that, like crackheads and me hitting chicks, and like I was wild. You know what I mean? I was like just filming wild stuff in the hood. You know what I mean? So I just had little mini DV tapes and stuff, filming stuff. Pull up on the block, ripping on people, cutting up. That's just what I was doing. And then I moved to North Carolina. I had to backtrack. So I started rapping. I really started taking rapping serious. So I was, spending a lot of money on rapping. DJ Schizo helped me do the whole record label thing, get everything together. He was the one-stop shop. So he'll do your paperwork. He'll do a flyer for you, a poster, a commercial. And I wanted to do a real video. And they was like, yo, this dude named Chris Avi. He shoot rap videos. He's a black dude. So somebody gave me his number, and I hit him up. I said, yo, how much you want for a video? He told me $3,500. Now, mind you, this is like 2002.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's an investment.
$3,500.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, hold on. If he shoot like 3 videos a month, I'm like, he's up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, he's up. So, bang, I got him to shoot my first video. So I end up, rapping to him like, he shot 2 videos for me for the $3,500. It was really like 1.5. The other one was like a verse and a half.
Yeah.
But I ended up finessing him to do that. You know what I mean? But I thought about that in my head. I said, yo, I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah.
I said, I'm rapping, I look good.
Let me get
you know
behind
what I mean?
the camera.
Yeah, I got the jewelry on, and like to me, rapping, and it's not to disrespect no rapper. I looked at it like being like a prostitute, bro. Like you look good, you're out on the corner, you sucking and you doing everything, but your money's going to the pimps. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Like the producers is getting my money. I gotta buy the gear. I gotta do this. Like everybody's draining my pockets when I'm rapping. You know what I mean? I rapped. I probably spent like 50 grand in 1 year. You know what I mean? Rapping. But I had the money. It wasn't nothing to me. Yeah. You know what I mean? We doing shows. I'm doing all this. And I'm like, bro, this is draining me. But I'm like, I always thought about him. I'm like, yo, the dudes behind the scenes are making all the money, bro. You know what I mean? The rappers look good and I'm doing this. I can hit all the hoes. But I'm like, nah, bro, I'm about money. 1 + 1 = 2. You know what I mean? So I'm like, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So bang that. And then when I moved, I was rapping, and then I moved to North Carolina, and I had 2 rap videos at the time. And I said, man, I'm gonna just buy a little mini DV camera, and I'm gonna do a documentary on my hood. I'm gonna go to Bell Silver and just film the hood and put it with my 2 rap videos. You know what I mean? And I had one of my homies, Hannibal. He does he got a series called Transitions. It's about to drop. It's kind of like The Wire. My man Hannibal, he did a documentary called Overdose back in the day. So this was probably like in late 90s. He did a documentary called Overdose where he went to Pittsburgh, Detroit, DC. He went out the West Coast. He went down Houston. He had Jay Prince and all them on there. And he came to the Burr. He's originally from here, but he'd been in DC for a long time. So he had this whole documentary. I was like, man, I probably could do something like him. But I just was thinking just on my hood. And he was another inspiration. So him, Chris Avi, and my granddad. You know what I mean? Them 3. And then I just went and bought a little mini DV camera, and I started filming my hood. But now I was like, damn, what if I could go through the whole city of Pittsburgh? But at the time, I'm like, I ain't even attempting that because I'm like, my hood fused with a lot of different hoods, and some people don't even like me. You know what I mean?
It's the early 2000s, right?
Yeah, it's like 2005. About 2005 when I really started picking up a camera. Like, you know what I mean? Once I moved to North Carolina, like 2004, I was down there probably like 6 months.
And I think you said you was living in Germany too for a minute.
I used to live in Germany for 2 years when I graduated from high school.
How old were you? So like 18 to 20?
Yeah. Yep. I was over there from 98 to like the end of 99.
Did you get any like inspirations from being over there in regards to
so
cinema?
me, I even did 11th grade in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. So my story, I got a long story, bro. I can't, you know what I mean? So 11th grade, I used to get in trouble. I went to Carrick, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So Bell Silver and St. Clair, we fought for the last 30 years, bro. So every time we fight in school, I always got in trouble. I always was one of them front line type dudes. I was never like a background. Anything I did, I was on the front line, bro. So when we feuding, I'm front line, bro. Like,
feel
I
you.
don't play defense. I didn't never play defense. I'm offense, bro. I play
All
offense
right.
in the streets. I was never one of them type people. So
Mm-hmm.
when I'm in it, I'm in it. You know what I mean? So I always got in trouble. My mom lived in Germany when I was in 6th grade. My mom moved to Germany. My Aunt Rhonda was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
So bang, my mom moved overseas. So my grandma and granddad raised me from 6th grade to 12th grade. But I always was getting in trouble. So 11th grade, basically, we had this big fight in the beginning of the school year. They was like, yo, we sending you down Kansas with your Aunt Rhonda. But mind you, my mom's still in Germany. My Aunt Rhonda had moved back from overseas. My mom was still over there. She ended up marrying a Nigerian dude, my little sister and them's dad. So my mom was still in Germany. My Aunt Rhonda, who's in the military, is in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas in 96. So 11th grade, my grandma and granddad sent me down there, but it was the best thing for me because it helped me graduate high school. So 9th and 10th, I didn't do nothing. I just cut school. I get my bus pass. We're out. You know what I mean? We downtown. You know what I mean? We just cut school. So 11th grade there, I was always smart. You know what I mean? But 11th grade, I went to school every day. I got my grades back together. So when I came back 12th grade to Carrick, I had to take 3 English classes and 3 math classes, like the whole year, because I had to take 9th, 10th, and 12th grade.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Math and English. So that whole year, I didn't have no gym classes and shit like that.
Yeah.
I hooped on the hoop team up Carrick, but I got locked up during the middle of the school year. So I went up Schumann during the hoop, my senior year hooping. They ran in this little trap crib we had down Endo. One of my homies, his mom and grandma went to jail, and he was living on his own at 15. So we turned his crib into a trap house.
Grandma went to jail?
Yeah, his mom and grandma. Yeah, they went to jail. Damn. Yeah, so he lived on his own. So I'm up Schumann my senior year. Then I get out. Then I end up I just did so much in my life, yo. So I ended up, so I ended up graduating though. You know what I mean? I was up Schumann probably for like a month. You know what I mean? I missed damn near the whole second, basketball season. I missed like half of the basketball season. You know what I mean?
Okay.
From being up Schumann. But I'm up Schumann dunking on dudes because I'm 17. I'm old as hell up there. You know what I mean? The hoops was low. I'm dunking on dudes up Schumann. But I get out, boom, and then I'm back in school and I end up graduating. You know what I mean? Then once I graduated, my grandma and granddad like, yo, you going overseas with your grandma and with your mom. Period. You not staying in Belsuver. You be doing too much. You know what I mean? So 2 days before my birthday, 2 days after my birthday's June 24th. June 26th, I was on a flight to Germany. But my Uncle Mar was over there. I got an Uncle Mar, he's 4 years older than me. So he's like my brother. So when I was in 9th grade, he was in 12th. He went over to Germany when he graduated. So he was already, over there, knew a lot of people. We didn't live on the army base neither. We lived where all the Germans and all the Africans and Moroccans and Russians lived. You know what I mean? But we worked on the army base. So they had army bases everywhere in Germany. So me going from the hood, full-fledged gangbanging, from the hood going to Germany was culture shock, yo.
Yeah.
But it helped me see the world. You know what I mean? It helped me know the world was bigger than the hood. So that's why my mentality changed. I'm like, bro, I always knew, bro, the hood's bigger. The world is bigger than just being in the hood and thinking on a hood level. So I'm meeting people from countries I never even heard of. I'm meeting friends on these army bases from every city around the world. You know what I mean? And I just had the time of my life over there. I was 18 at the time, and it's like I'm 21 here. So I'm able to buy liquor. I'm able to go to the clubs. I'm able to gamble. Like Germany was wide open. Like it's not like America's all bottled up. Like you could see sex on regular TV at 10 o'clock at night in Germany. So it's not the same, you know what I mean, as here. So it was just a good experience. And the weed was bomb. Like this is 98. So all the weed people smoke now.
It's still like that now?
Yes.
Did you have your camera in Germany?
Nah, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. That was kind of like before I was messing with cameras. So once I got out of high school, I didn't mess with cameras till I came back, like after 99.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it influence it though? Like sparking off like your film journey?
Not.
Were you thinking about that back then, or were you more focused on the music? And
I wasn't even, but I really didn't start. I really started rapping when I came back, like 99.
Okay.
You know what I mean? From Germany when I came back. You know what I mean? I stayed over there like 2 years. My mom moved back. She moved to Hazelwood. And then it was just me and my stepdad at the time, the Nigerian dude. It was just me and him living in the crib for like a year in Germany. It was just us two. You know what I mean? So I was basically on my own over there. I worked on an army base. But I worked in a store called the Power Zone. It's like the Best Buy. So I did the CDs and VCR tapes. So any rap CD that came in, so all the Army people knew me because they'd be like, yo, you got that new BGN and you got that new No Limit. So everybody had to come to me to get the CDs. So I just end up meeting so many people
Yeah.
And still to this day, I found a lot of my friends on Facebook that I was cool with from Germany. So when I go to
That's
cities,
dope.
I got a whole network of
is.
friends that I had from over there that I still connect with till this day. You know
That's
what I
what's
mean?
up. Now, when you came back, you said you were rapping at first, and then they kind of transitioned to film. So, and you said that pretty much you noticed there wasn't like no money in for being a rapper. So, when was the transition from being a rapper to going to film, and what was that transition like?
Oh, it was easy for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was easy because I was living in North Carolina. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I really, when I moved to North Carolina, I just got tired of hustling. Yo. Like I just felt the walls closing in. I mean, a lot of dudes was snitching and just was weird. Yo. You know what I mean? I just seen a shift because I'm going from like a lot of my homies was getting indicted. You know what I mean? A lot of dudes in my clique was getting indicted. A lot of dudes was dying. And I'm smart. I was like, bro, I'm not gonna stand on this ship and it's sinking. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I got enough money. I'm out. Period.
I feel you.
Me and my ex-wife, she was like, yo, we need to da-da-da. You know what I mean? I had 3 kids. So I'm like, I don't want to raise my sons in this. You know what I mean? So we end up just dipping. We end up going to D.C. first. And I was like, this cost of living is too crazy just for an apartment. And then her brother was living in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He was a professor at Winston-Salem State. So we went down there and visited. And I'm like, man, this is all right. A little laid back, chill, little country town. You know what I mean? But I knew Charlotte was an hour away. I knew Charlotte smacked. And I knew Greensboro smacked. So Greensboro was 30 minutes. Charlotte was an hour. So I knew them cities smacked, and we just went down there.
You were doing music then?
Yeah.
Okay, because
Yeah.
Nashville's right there too,
Yeah.
which is a big music city. So
Yeah, when I moved down there, I was still doing a little bit of music, but then that's when I really picked up a camera when I was down there. I was like, yo, I'm going to come back and start shooting some content. That's how I created Blocks Projects and Entertainment.
I was gonna get to that next. So it's funny how you had did a video and it was like a clip or something I saw on Instagram where you posted all like the content you created, all the videos and DVDs you made. I'm like, wait, hold up, is that Hood to Hood? I'm like, I know this ain't the dude who's making Hood to Hood all these years. And it's funny growing up at Homewood and seeing like how everybody used to just be tweaking to see the Hood to Hood videos and just watching it. At the time, we used to get so fascinated by seeing them. And this whole time, like, wait, this is him right here. So what led you to want to? You had mentioned something about you was like, I was like risking my life, you know what I'm saying, going to all these different neighborhoods, all these hoods, and recording. So what led you to doing that, and what was it like doing that?
What led me to doing it, I just was like, I wanted to capture Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, the burg, the essence of it, bro, like the streets. But like I said, I had to really like think about it before I did it. So when I came up with the idea after I filmed my hood, I was like, I want to try to go through the whole city. I was like, I'm going to just make a flyer. So I had DJ Schizo make me a flyer.
Okay.
And it was like hood to hood, rep your hood. Like, and I put my phone number on there if you want me to come through your hood. And I came back. This was around the time like Club Touch and all that stuff was still smacking. And I came back and I used to be able to get like 5,000 flyers for like $1.50 or something, $1.25, something cheap.
Crazy.
You know? So boom, I was hitting people's cars with flyers. That's what I'm saying. Like me, I don't have no problem till this day. You know what I mean? Like I don't have them ego issues. Like I come from an era where you had to get out there in the cold and grind, bro. You know what I mean? You had to pull all-nighters. You had to just we just had a different type of grind back in the day. You know what I mean? So I still got that grind. So I'm passing these flyers out, putting them on people's cars, and dudes just start hitting me up. Yo, come through my hood. Yo, you know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, cool. And I just was like, you know, I got cool with a lot of dudes, but it was like a great thing, and also it was like kind of a bad thing, you know what I mean? Because I exposed a lot that was going on in the streets to people outside of Pittsburgh.
Did you get any like backlash from that or anybody
For
like?
sure. Homies I did. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta think the police will watch it, you know what I mean? When we got pulled over by task force one day, this was probably like 2006. Me and my homies got pulled over by task force. I just so happened to be back from North Carolina. Now, mind you, I'm in North Carolina, but I always came back to film. The whole time I did Blocks Projects Entertainment, I was living in North Carolina.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, I was not living here. I was coming back to film all the time. I was not living here. Yeah. So we had pulled over one day, and the task force dude was like, oh, yeah, I know you. I be watching your documentaries.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So the police, they did, like, you know, white people want to keep stuff in wraps. They want to keep what's going on in Pittsburgh in wraps, but I exposed Pittsburgh gang culture to the world.
Now, did you have any problems with like you know, I kind of compare it to almost like dudes going on Vlad. Don't go on Vlad tell all their business, and then they get mad, but
Yeah,
you
there
the
was
one
the,
saying
yes,
it. So
it was all of that, yo. So there was dudes like, yeah, bro, you getting people said I was getting people spanked in the city,
but
bro.
they the one talking
Bro,
though.
people was black. Listen, neighborhoods is already feuding.
Yeah.
Dudes is already killing people 90 going north. Everybody knows who they feud with. Like,
Yeah.
I just was putting it on DVD.
Yeah.
Like, it just was what it was. But
they was calling your number though.
Yeah. So they wanted me to come through. They wanted me to come through. So, it's like somebody might say something about this hood. They like, yeah, come to my hood, bro, man, F them. Da-da-da. So I'm like, I'm coming, bro. Y'all pay me, I'm coming. You know what I mean? So it was a good thing, but it helped me be able to bridge the gap between everybody in the city. So a lot of dudes connected off of the DVD because they seem like, oh, man, dude's cool. He get money. You know what I mean? Yeah. So a lot of people from the city got a chance to see other neighborhoods and it make you realize, bro, we all the same. It's just we just wear different colors. And everybody trying to survive. Now, some people is just wild and they just do wild stuff. But for the most part, some people is just everybody just trying to live and survive. You know what I mean? And I ended up getting the distribution for it. That was what really took it to the top. I went to because the first one when I first started, I got them shrink wrap. I was paying $1,000 for 1,000 DVDs, but I'm selling them on the streets for $10 to $20. So I'm making 10 times my money. Like, bro, I'm hammering them, bro. I'm killing them. I'm selling I probably sold like 30,000 DVDs. Bro.
This around like Smack DVD time,
Smack,
all of that.
Cheddar,
Okay,
all
so
that.
this is like this is the wave.
This is the when DVD was at its height. You know what I mean? The DVD game was at its height.
I remember seeing the Nicki Minaj's and like everybody that's who they are now on them DVDs.
Yeah, that era was epic, yo.
How did you feel when DVDs and CDs started basically going extinct and now nobody has CDs and DVDs? How'd you feel about that?
It was whack, yo, because it messed up. It messed up a lot for everything affects black people the most.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You ain't lying about that?
Like everything that happens like that because they figure like, oh, they're making too much money off this. We got to shift the culture. You know what I mean? We create the culture, and a lot of times we let people take the culture from us.
They figure out how to capitalize on it. Yeah.
Like streaming now, it's like you got to get 20 million streams to get $2. Like,
swear.
So it's like the whole shift of it. I was pissed, yo, but I had stopped doing, that particular DVD. I didn't want to do it no more because I was in a different space mentally in my life. I was like, I don't want to put out that image of my own people. You know what I mean?
I remember seeing you saying that.
Yeah,
on
bro.
Instagram.
I just change. You change, you live and you learn. If you don't grow as a man, bro, you're gonna be stuck on stupid forever.
I feel like it's also too like it's erasing our history, right? Like if we think about how powerful it's been in our culture to tell stories and to pass them down to each other, like they basically could come in and wipe that out and replace it with something else. You posted something the other day that resonated with me. You were like, how much would you pay for like an old video or picture of yourself? And I'm thinking of like my old track videos that my mom used to record on a camcorder. And I'm like, it made me hit up my mom and be like, do you still have those? Like, those memories are priceless.
They're priceless. You'll
pay. And them coming up with the Netflix and the Hulus and all of those things, it really takes away from our storytelling and like kind of like allows them to come in and tell our story for us, which is why if you go on Netflix, probably like 1 out of every 10 movies, like you might see some black main characters, but not really. I would say most of the shows and the TV, the movies, especially like rom-coms, I watch a lot of romantic movies. And there's not a lot of love stories that aren't from like the 90s, like Brown Sugar and Love and Basketball and stuff like that. Like, or they're corny. Or they're real corny.
I agree. And it's funny, I saw that what you said too about the whole how much would you pay to see that? And I'm a real big nostalgic kind of person. So the house I grew up in home with, when we moved out of there when I was 19, I literally took pictures and made videos of every angle of that block. I was like, in case one day this is gone, I need to have videos and pictures of this. Yeah. And it's funny because it's stuff we're seeing now. In like 30 years when this is gone, like right now we don't think none of it. But when it's gone, you're like, man, remember used to have this, remember used to have that. Kind of like
think about it.
I think about it all the time. So I always am constantly taking pictures of not just me and my friends and family, but of just places and things, just in case one day it's not here. Because I feel like people don't take pictures no more.
It's not I was watching another video of yours, and so I grew up on Stratford, right up the street. So this is where I used to run up and down the streets. Like, I'm from here. And you was talking about Baby Lid. Like, it's not about, like, if one day it's not here. Like, it's not here right now. Yeah. Like, East Liberty don't look anything like how it did when I was growing up, and I wasn't even allowed out after the street lights came on. Like my dad would be like, all right, come in after that street light turned on. But it also was like, it was a lot of community. It was a lot of the things you were talking about. Like I remember our street would shut down the street and we would have block parties. And like everybody would come out, everybody would cook. If my mom was late from work, she'd be like, go over to the neighbor's house. They would feed us, take care of us. Like, very different. Like, I asked my neighbor for if they had an egg the other day, and the way that he looked at me, like, are you talking to me right now? Was wild. Like, it's not about, like, one day if it is gone. A lot of it is gone now.
Mm-hmm. And even down to the games, like you brought the video about Release the Den and how to go get it. I was like, man, I remember them days playing them games and being outside, and it's just like how times have just changed. It's just crazy, you know what I'm saying? And so I really watch your video just for nostalgic purposes. Like every day I see something that you post, and I'm like, man, I remember that, or I remember this.
It really takes you back to that moment,
and it make you. It's a feel good because being innocent, being a kid. That's why it's so important for us to document our history, especially as Black people. You know what I mean? This podcast, who knows? Somebody might see this podcast 100 years from now. Like, oh, that's my great grandma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's why I tell people with weddings, I'm like, one of the most important things for your wedding is the video of it.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna pay for all this catering and all this, but I'm like, that video's gonna live on past all of it.
Those moments.
You know what I mean? The videos and the pictures is the only thing that's gonna live.
Yeah.
That's going to live on. It's going to supersede the wedding, the actual ring. The ring could get lost. You know what I mean? So that's why I say it's so important for us to document our history. That's why I document something every day. It ain't even just for me. It's for my great. So they could be like, man, my great granddad was that dude, yo. Like, man, what? Look at him, yo. It'll give them inspiration. So you don't never know who you inspiring with what you do. So that's why it's so important to document, to put out content, to tell your story, because you don't want nobody else to tell it. You know what I mean? Because somebody else will tell my story. If somebody else tells my story, they might tell the worst parts of it. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, he was this and that, you know what I mean? Which was true at one point, you know what I mean? But that's not, that doesn't define me, you know what I mean?
How you feel about, like, I'm thinking of, remember those pictures you used to take at, like, Macy's and JCPenney's? Where our parents would like dress us with the background and stuff.
Yeah, that was classic.
I was going through all of those at my grandma's house.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, how do you feel about, like, I don't think JCPenney's or Macy's even does that anymore. They might.
Sears do it too.
But
what's it called? What's it called? Does one of them in the mall still do it?
Okay, but how you feel about iPhones? Because I feel like, or just technology, period. Because I feel like people don't think to do that because it's so easy to just snap a picture of every single moment now. A Kodak camera is $26 on Amazon. Like, I went to go buy a Kodak camera, and I was like, why is this $30? Because we used to take those to every school dance and everything.
But sometimes the bad thing about it, you talking about the little Kodak cameras?
Yes, the one you wind up and click.
I would get them developed, but sometimes they all ain't come out, though.
Yeah, but it's about the moment, and, like, you know what was in the picture. But how do you feel about, because you're a filmmaker and you're a storyteller, I feel like more than anything, and when I'm looking at you as an artist, I think you tell stories beautifully and really capture the moment. But how do you feel about, like, or what do you think, like, the effects of kind of like iPhones when you do film with the actual camera? Do you feel like it's kind of messing up the history and the storytelling of things?
Not really, because I'm a forward thinker, and I just, like, you know what I mean, like me being 45, a lot of people don't think, because I stay up with the times. That don't mean I'm running around talk about ops and using the slang and all that. Yeah. But I just stay up on the times of what's going on
You're
now.
Educated.
Yeah, so I just stay up on the times. And technology is a good thing and it's a bad thing. It just depends on how you use it.
Okay.
So but you still can do nostalgic stuff, just like me talking about stuff. I have one of those little cameras, and I don't even know the name of it, but you take it and the film comes out, but it's small. The little small, the little small one. Yeah. I got two of those. You know what I mean? So just for the nostalgic purposes, I let my daughter take little pictures with it so they can know what that's like from back in the day. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So you got to create those moments.
You got to just create them. You do 80s parties. You do, you know what I mean? Just whatever you want to do. It's just sometimes people just don't think outside the box. They just think like, oh, I can just this and that, and this is this. Like using a cell phone, a cell phone You don't even gotta. You can make millions just by using a cell
Yeah.
phone.
Swear.
So it's just all in how you doing what you doing. You know what I mean?
I'm just thinking of all the pictures that I kind of take throughout the day and how I never go back and look at them. But the pictures I do have from back in the day,
them was
they're
the
in a
ones
box in my room that I pull out when I want to feel those feelings. Like when you have your videos, and it's like it takes me back to that time where I could literally smell and like. Like, I know what it felt like, what it smelled like.
Smells of the
like,
pictures.
you start to get those sensations.
I think one thing that's key that we got to start doing, I was telling somebody this the other day, like, what I be doing is, because we don't, like, people don't use Kodak cameras no more. So, since we do take all our pictures on our phones, I literally go get them developed at Walgreens.
Okay.
I think so people will have, like, thousands of pics in a phone and they'll stay in a phone. But what if one day, like, what if somebody don't got a big family? They pass away, you never got those pics. So I feel like we got to start, the pics we take, we got to start getting developed. So you can have, like, I got literally 2 photo albums. Yeah. I keep putting pictures in there. So, yeah, I think we got to get back to doing that and just capturing moments and stuff like that. And actually, you kind of inspired me to keep doing that. For I seen seeing the videos and the pictures, I'm like, man, I kind of been slacking. I don't be taking that many pics or capturing these moments. I'm like, I'm about to really start doing that. So now I'm about to really start making my own videos, like, all the time now. I'm about to start doing that. So you kind of inspired me and motivated me to start doing that again. So yeah.
Like from your podcast, you could create probably 5 to 10 different streams of income. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could sell an ebook. You could do like little wrap ups on it. You could sell your T-shirts. You could, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just so much different stuff we could do. And sometimes it might take somebody else to be like, yo, bro, why don't you do this? You know what I mean? But sometimes we all be so focused on what we got going on. Sometimes it takes an outside entity or somebody else to be like, yo, bro, you know you could do this, or you know you could create that into a whole course, and you be like, oh, I didn't even think about that. So it's like so much we could do, but when you focus on what you going on, that's why it's good to have a team of people around you, smart people and people who's forward thinkers.
I agree. I mean? Now you, so you were doing the blocks and the projects films, and then it translated, or then it went to wrestling, and it's called Blam, right?
So so that we like 20 years in between.
We
so,
fast forward.
Yeah. So Blocks Projects was from 2005 to 2018. Oh, yeah. So after that, I did a documentary called Pittsburgh State of Mind.
Okay.
So I did a documentary for OE called Stay Down. I did one for One Eye called I Am Comedy. Now Pittsburgh State of Mind was another big one I did. I premiered that in the Southside Works movie theater. So I sold that out like 300 tickets.
Okay, that's gone too now.
Yeah, so that movie theater's gone. So I got a dope picture. We did it was like a selfie, like where I'm in the front and everybody's behind me in a movie theater. We held like probably like 235 tickets. I sold that out, and it was a documentary about Pittsburgh music. That's on YouTube too. I'm
gonna check that out.
Yeah, Pittsburgh State of Mind. So it's basically just about just rapping in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Just artists, a lot of interviews, music videos. And then, you know, it did good. It did pretty good. I had the Pittsburgh State of Mind T-shirts and stuff like that. Is that the one that
Wapo was in?
No, Wapo wasn't in this. He was just now starting to like.
Because I know you had you had a couple videos with him. Yeah,
that's my little cousin too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my little. That's my Uncle Pee Wee's son.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my mom's brother, my Uncle Pee Wee. Yeah, Wapo was his son. So when I first met Wapo, my Uncle Pee Wee at first was a funny story. Me and my Uncle Pee Wee was down. We was down the south side by the Popeyes, right?
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, man, little dude right there. They keep saying he's my son because my Uncle Pee Wee didn't know. He knew, but he was like, yo, his mom saying that's my son. And we pulled up on it. I said, man, that's your, they look just alike. Yo, I'm like, that's your son. Uncle was like, man, I know. You know what I mean? But somebody else was, basically saying he was Wapo's dad at first. You know what I mean? I don't know who the dude was or whatnot. But then one day, me, my uncle, and Wapo, when he first started rapping, we went to Carmine on the north side. This when it was on, what is that? What street is that? Is that North Ave?
It's not
North
East Ohio.
It might be North. It's North or I don't know. Whatever. The one you come off the West End Bridge. Carmine was right there. We sat down and we was talking. He was like, "Yeah, man, I'm starting to rap." He was asking me questions because I had a lot of knowledge. I was like, "Man, you just gotta just go hard." I was like, "It don't matter if you're the best rapper or not." You know what I mean? I was like, "You just gotta connect with people and just start." You know what I mean? But he had started bringing his little crew and then his boys when we had the Plug Media down Carson. So we had a multimedia one-stop shop down Carson Street called the Plug Media.
I remember that.
What I mean? Yeah, you remember the Plug. You was around for that.
Yeah.
So that was from like 2014 to like 2016. So it was me, James Webb, and my man Doran, star name Moore. So that's when I first moved back to Pittsburgh. I came back. Me and my ex-wife broke up. I came back to Pittsburgh in 2013, September. So January 2014, we opened the Plug Media right on Carson Street, right a couple doors down from Jack's Bar. on that block. You know what I mean? Between like 10th and 11th or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we had a one-stop shop. So we had a green screen in there. We shoot music videos, and we had a music studio.
Okay.
So that was the one-stop shop. So we was killing them down there. We was making money hand over fist on Corson. And Wapo and his crew used to come down there. You know what I mean? A lot of rappers in the city was coming down recording. And I had came up with, before when Instagram first started letting you do videos, I was like I was the first person in Pittsburgh that did Instagram rap videos. You know what I mean? On the stories. So I was like, yo, come down. It was only 30. They only let you do 13 seconds. I brought Deasley first. I said, I'm going to do Deasley. I said, I'm going to do Deasley for free. And I said, everybody else is going to fall in line. I just know how to market. Yo.
Right.
So I did Deasley's. He did his little rap. Oh, and he's like, yo, in the last like 3 seconds, it was rap 10 seconds. In the last 3 seconds, just shout out the plug. Yo, come down to the plug, get connected. And I put the video out, and then it was just wow. Yeah. So then all the rappers, so I'm charging them for these little 13-second videos. I'm charging them like $1.75 for like a 10-second video on a white backdrop. But we did like 50 of them, yo. Man, and then once the rappers came, boom, I would take their picture, and then I would put their picture in the booth, you know what I mean, on the wall. You know what I mean? And I would put their name with the little plug logo on it. So I always knew how to just market and just do different type stuff. So it's really easy, you know what I mean? Once you like understand marketing, you understand promotion.
You plugged in with the music scene too, because I saw some people, I was watching a clip from the Blam videos or behind the scene, and you had people from Taylor Gang in there. Like you tied in with the city. Like I had all the old heads and like the real roots.
Lonnie, that's Wiz's bodyguard, Big Lonnie. I had him as the referee in the final scene for Blam. His name was Livewire, so he came as the referee.
I'm excited to see that. It looked funny.
Yeah, no, it's beyond funny. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. Like, I don't have a doubt in my mind that this movie is going to be a cult classic. Blam is going to be a cult classic.
For people who don't know, can you explain what Blam is and how that got started?
So Blam actually is a slang word in the Berg for slamming somebody.
Facts. Yeah.
But we just used it.
We all saw somebody get blam.
Everybody that sees somebody get blam. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Took him to the 12th and blammed him. You know what I mean? So that's straight Berg slang. Yeah. So Blam is a wrestling comedy based on black wrestlers in Pittsburgh. So it's wrestling, it's comedy, it's Pittsburgh, and it's urban. You know what I mean? So it's like perfect 4 elements. Yeah, it's Berg slang all through it. You know what I mean? We made sure we say a lot of the Berg slang, everything. And I just came up with an idea. I was watching Macho Man and Hulk Hogan, some old wrestling clips. Because in the 80s, everybody watched wrestling. You might not watch wrestling now, but you watched it when you was young, yo.
Facts.
And wrestlers, see, in the 80s, bro, I ain't gonna hold you. Wrestlers was bigger than NFL and everybody, except for Michael Jordan.
Kimbo slicing them, right?
No, that's way later.
That's way
Kimbo Slice he's
more of a street
regular,
fighter,
street fighter.
Oh, okay.
No, this is old school.
Cut that clip out now.
So wrestling was big. You know what I mean? Growing up in the Berg, everybody wrestled. Let's lock it up. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So I was watching these old clips, and like I said, go back to the nostalgia, to the vintage. Everything goes back to back in the day to when you was a kid. You know what I mean? Most things you do, it always go. You got to go back to your childhood and realize, like, yo, when was I the happiest? What was I doing? That's why a lot of men play video games and women be mad. Like, no, bro, let him play some video games. At least he ain't in the streets. You know what I mean?
That's a whole nother podcast.
But I'm just saying though, like, I don't play video games, but I'm like, if that's your getaway, if that's what make you feel good.
It take you out of, because I remember China, I remember Rakishi, like all them crazy, the Johnny Tsunami, and I wasn't even into it like that, but you remember those moments where like he just dropped down and started doing the worm, or you know what I mean, when Rakishi was doing that weird stuff, which is wild to think about. The TV back then was wild, but I remember, and I can like remember those moments. It's very nostalgic.
Right.
But yeah, let's your man play a little bit of video games.
So I was watching the clip of Macho Man and Hulk Hogan when they was becoming the mega powers, and my Hulk Hogan. Can I cuss?
Yeah.
All right, fuck Hulk Hogan for real. You know what I mean? Because he's racist as hell. You know what I mean? But I'm watching the clip of Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. So he's like, yo, brother, I feel like if we shake hands, the whole world's going to blow up. And him and Macho Man, he's like, ooh, yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm just cracking. I'm like, man, this is like, you know what I mean? It brought me back to my childhood. I'm like, damn, why have we never really had the black wrestlers? Like, we had a couple. Like, later on, there started to be some Booker T and them and The Rock. You know what I mean? But I'm like, we didn't never have those black wrestlers that was like Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan.
Like
and, you know what I mean?
superstars.
Yeah, there was some, but they never pushed them to the top. So I was like, man, what if I made a movie about black wrestlers? And I'm just thinking this in my head. I was like, what if I made a movie about black wrestlers and I make it a comedy. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, everybody want to laugh. That's why I really did.
Comedy.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna make it a comedy. So I came up with the idea, and me and my business partner Lay, we had already been working on a whole nother movie for like a year and a half. We had a whole damn near script written, like 80 pages. So I called him like, yo, I got this idea for this movie. So he's basically like, nigga, what? We already got a movie. I'm like, bro, I'm like a wrestling comedy, bro. Niggas from the hood wrestling. He like, all right, like, but he said, all right, like, whatever, nigga, like, basically, like that, yo. So I go over his crib, like, the next day, because we always meet up every Wednesday. Me and him been meeting up every Wednesday to work on movies for, like, the last 5 years, bro. No lie, bro. We be from, like, 6 p.m. I might not get home till 2, 3 in the morning. So it takes that type of dedication. Like, we edit.
You need that
accountability.
We write, and that person in your life.
So I go over his crib, right? So he kind of thought about it, because I didn't go over his crib till, like, the next day or something like that. He's like, yo, bro, I like that idea. I'm like, bro, you see it? But we didn't know no wrestlers. So I had 2 dudes that I thought of. I always said if I ever did something wrestling, these 2 would be my characters. Okay. That's Big Walt, who plays the late night nibbler, and that's Tito, Tito Rowley, who plays Rantan Rowley. Them 2 didn't even know each other.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't even know each other. So I was like, I just always look, Tito's skinny, he got locks, Walt's fat, you know what I mean? He's funny, but they're like wrestling. I know how to I could see people, bro. You know what I mean? Neither one of them act before, but Walt used to try to do a little bit of skits and stuff like that. I was like, all right, he can do something. And Tito was always a character. He was wild. He's pre-hype. He's a wrestler. Yeah. Most dudes in Pittsburgh is already wrestlers. They just have the personality. So I thought of them 2 as the main characters. I'm like, bro, them 2 could be a tag team. Now, mind you, I only knew one wrestler here in the city of Pittsburgh. I only knew him because he had me on his talk show, which is now called Podcast. My man Duke Davis, he's one of the top wrestlers in Western PA, but he travels, he be in leagues, he's like 6'6", big, muscular, he be crushing dudes, him and his tag team partner. But at the time, I didn't know he had a tag team partner. I only knew he was a wrestler because I seen him in PK DeLay's music video that they shot at the wrestling facility that they let me use now.
Shout out to PK.
Yeah. Swear.
So he was in his video. I was like, yo, I know, dude, he's a wrestler. VA, because I called him VA to Prayers. That's what his show was called, down the Diamond Building downtown. So I reached out to him. I'm like, yo, bro, I got this idea for this wrestling movie. Now, mind you, we still didn't even have a name Blam or nothing. We didn't have no characters, nothing. So I told him, I was like, yo, I got this, idea for this wrestling movie.
And what year was this around?
That was in 2000. We've been working on Blam 4 years, so that was 2021.
Because
like
you used
January.
To carry around that little belt with
I still be having
I see that,
yeah. So I called him, he told him the idea, you know what I mean? Me and Lay started building. So we got to his crib, we started building characters, and I put a post on Facebook. I was like, yo, name me some wrestling characters, some names. And people started inboxing me stuff. My man was like, yo, make a character called Mr. Perfect. You know what I mean? Instead of Mr. Perfect, like a pervert, but he's like freaky as hell, like a male stripper. And I was like, damn, that's a perfect, you know what I mean? Make this character. And people was just sending me names. We was coming up with names. And I was like, Lay, what we gonna call it? He was like, Blam. But Lay's, he's a genius at wordplay. He's a rapper. He can freestyle. So Lay's so dope with the writing. I'm super technical, marketing. Like, I'm good with writing too, but he's because he's a rapper and he's
a perfect
quick
team.
creative. You know what I mean? It's a good combo.
Yeah.
So we just start coming up with ideas, coming up with characters. Then we start putting the story together. And it's like, once we had the story, like, boom, this is what they doing. They going on this journey to be tag team wrestlers to make this money. And it just kind of just start falling into place. So once we did the casting call, a lot of wrestlers came. A lot of people came as characters. A lot of people just came just as actors. You know what I mean? Then once we did the casting call, we did 2 casting calls. That's what we got all of our characters from that. I'm like, oh, all right, we could use him for this character. We could use him for this. And we just start meshing everything together. And I didn't even have a wrestling facility neither. So I made a post on Facebook about something just in general. And this dude liked my post. Something you go on your social media. You know who the main people usually be on there. Like, and I look, I'm like, who's dude? So I went to his page and it said, yo, something PWX Wrestling. So I'm like, oh, this dude do something with wrestling, a black dude? So I inboxed him. I'm like, yo, what's up, bro? What's up? What you be doing? He's like, oh, yeah, I manage a wrestling league. I'm a key sport called PWX Wrestling. I'm like, for real? I was like, I want to come check y'all out.
That's perfect.
So I went out there, and it was Average Joe's Gym. It was exactly what I wanted for Blam. It was ran down, the raccoons living in that mug, like the ceiling's leaking. But I wanted Blam to be because it's about a struggling wrestling league. So it couldn't look like Globo Gym. It couldn't look like Ben Stiller's spot. It had to look like Average Joe's, you know what I mean? So the guy who owned it, Mr. Jim, shout out to Mr. Jim, and Aaron was a black dude. He's from Larmer. Aaron was the manager and Mr. Jim was the owner. And I went and checked out the space, the locker room. They got an old church pew in the wrestler locker room. Bro, it's just one of them. It looks, they got the old white wrestling equipment. Like, regular workout equipment. The white ones from back in the they still had that in there. So it had
crazy.
the look of everything that I wanted. And he let me use the facility for free, bro.
Oh, wow.
Man,
So what I would do, and then we did the Indiegogo. We did the Indiegogo. In 35 days, we raised over 10 grand. So I put the lucha mask on. I did a whole campaign. I did, perks and all this stuff. And we raised over 10,000 in
amazing.
35 days on the Indiegogo. And that helped jumpstart it. And then after that, it was just basically just my bread I put up, like me and Lay. And then, like it's been a lot of money I done fitted with Blam, bro. But I know it's going to pay off. It's like you really got to invest in yourself. And like a few people died. One of my main characters, my man who plays Mr. Perfect, my man Nasty, he died. You know what I mean? Yeah, he died. Another dude, he played like he wasn't a big character, but he was there as a wrestler. My man Keita, man, he passed away. And then Duke Davis, the main wrestler, his wife passed away during, the time we was filming Blam. He stopped wrestling for like a year. So we had to put the movie on hold because I'm like, he's the final boss, him and his tag team partner. They're 6'6", both with dreads. They're called the main event. I can't finish the movie without him. You know what I mean? So I had to wait for him to come back wrestling. I wasn't nothing I could rush him because I don't know how long somebody's mourning. So I never even I reached out, said, my condolences. But I'm like, man, that man's going through something traumatic. So he ended up coming back wrestling, and then we was able to kind of finish the final scenes. So that kind of put the movie on hold because his wife died. You know what I mean? So it's been a lot. It's a lot with film and journey because Ruff, I want to shoot a movie. I'm like, bro, you got like 50 to 100,000. If you don't, you might as well go sit down unless you want to just have somebody just do some little BS. But if you want to have a real crew and boom pole operators, if you don't know how to edit, you don't want to do no movie. I tell people that all the time.
In one of your videos, you were talking about, it was a behind the scenes video, and you were talking about, I don't think it was you, it was somebody in the video in the behind the scenes just talking about like, I don't think people understand how much you sacrifice, like how much everybody had to sacrifice to get here, and how much goes into that. I've always been intrigued with like creative processes because we get this like somebody puts out a song, right? We hear the song, but you don't understand how many hours somebody might have went in and made the beat, or how many times they had to rap that verse and then put everything together and master and mix it and all of that. So tell me a little bit about like your creative process when you're putting these things together. What does that look like? I know there was a clip of you being like, I went to a thrift store and I got this and I got that and I got some pictures of Kennywood. Like, what does that look like when you're walking through your creative processes?
So when we do the set design, that's usually me. So I'm going to all these stores. I'm like, yo, this scene need to look like this. Like even a lot of the wardrobe. Like you see dudes wearing that stuff in Blam. Like the late night nibbler wears the bib. I just thought of that. I said, yo, I'm going to have him with a bib on, and he's going to put chicken wings in a grown man bib. Like he has a grown man, he got a grown-up bib on, but he puts chicken wings in it, and he be seasoning and eating in the wings. So I just thought of that on the whim. Like, yo, this is the color scheme they need to have. The Juggernaut Gigolos, I found these pink and purple leopard tights, but they're two dark-skinned dudes. So the color contrast is crazy. They got pink fedoras on, purple bow ties. They look like Chippendales, like male strippers. They got the little purple. So it's just thinking outside of the box, like, yo, they need to look like this, they need to look like this. It's just ordering stuff, and it's just using all these different creative pieces. Like even the Blam wrestling belts, I designed that. I got a dude from Spain. It's a dude from Spain who makes it. Me and him went back and forth for like a month on how I wanted the belt designed. And I put the Kwanzaa symbols on the belts. You know what I mean? Like Ujima and stuff like that. Those are on the ends of the belts. People don't even know what they mean. You know what I mean? It's the Blam in the middle, but it's different signs from Kwanzaa on the other plates of the belt. You know what I mean? So just designing that and just thinking, I just think, you know what I mean? I just think, and I'm not the smartest. I was a C student. There's so many people, but I just go hard. I just don't take no for an answer. I just make sure I'm staying creative, and I don't do that. I don't use nothing. There's no excuses for me, yo. I can't make an excuse. I got 8 kids. I can't make an excuse. I have to make sure it gets done no matter what I'm going through. If somebody else don't do it, I have to do it. So I really don't try to depend on people as much as I can, but I really need to. But just being creative is really like, you just wake up and you just think. You think outside the box. Because there's so many dudes still to this day, Ruff, man, we need to do something like The Wire. Nigga, for what? So 10 niggas from The Bird can watch it?
Yeah.
Nigga, like, that shit ain't going nowhere, bro.
Facts.
Like, that shit ain't going to transcend nowhere. Nigga, Blam will be across the world. White people's going to watch it. Chinese.
Everybody.
Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, people from the hood, people who like wrestling. You have to think
Of all
outside the
ages.
box, bro. Yeah. So just creating and buying stuff. Like, I be hitting thrift stores, but thrift stores is nostalgic.
Yeah,
you know what I
because
mean?
you had
Yes.
what you call it, a big back TV.
Yeah. I got that off some girl on Facebook Marketplace. She charged me like $40 for it. I'm like, come on. It was a black girl too in Homestead, yo. She's like, I'm saying, I just got
Don't
this
say
TV.
her name.
I said, I ain't know
Tell
her
her
name.
address.
No, I ain't know her name. It was in Homestead. She was like, I'm saying, I just bought this TV. I said, man, no the hell you did. Yo, this TV's from the 1930s, nigga. She started laughing though. She gonna say, I just bought this TV. I'm gonna carry this big back TV, but I needed it for the scene because the scene was based in the early 90s. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's
I
funny
just
as
wanted to
hell.
highlight the creative process because I think so much goes into what you do, and people might just see a clip or a scene, but I feel
it's
it.
a lot
and I just wanted to highlight that because it's important. And also, like you just talking about, so people know and can be inspired by. Like, before we was on camera, you was like, yo, you could do whatever you want with Artist Talk. Like, you don't gotta follow it. But it is hard sometimes to think outside of the box, like you said earlier, having the right people around you to make you think or, like, pull your thoughts in different directions. That's powerful, and that's really what makes you have everybody around the world, you know, watching your stuff and making you tap outside of your box.
Well, anybody from Pittsburgh needs some motivation. Come hang with me for a day. You be all right.
I'm motivated.
Y'all
I'll
heard
get,
it
I'll
here.
get you out of that slump quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you got to think, bro, I was a full-fledged gangbanger, one of the top drug dealers, not even to glorify that. But I wasn't that dude in the back. I was the one in the front, bro. You know what I mean? I was booting, shooting, prostituting, everything. So, but I changed my life. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you young
others
and
could
you
too.
going through something right now, bro, you got to always think, like, you can change.
And it's
You know
never
what
too
I mean?
late.
You can change. You don't have to be just a street dude or a hood nigga for the rest of your life trying to just boot and rep a hood and all that. Because at the end of the day, that stuff don't have no longevity to it, yo.
Life's all about
Yeah,
progression.
it's not
man.
gonna last. It does not last, yo.
I want to read this quote that I got off your Facebook that it's good.
I don't care what it is. No, I don't look nervous.
But-
With everything I said,
Nah.
I stand on my shit.
It resonated with me because here in Pittsburgh, I think because it's a small city, sometimes people do get boxed in. And when I read this, I was just like, wow, it was powerful. Because I moved to Cali for a couple years and then I moved back. And that's when I started Artist Talk and started, you know, taking off with Nipless. And I think you do have to kind of like test yourself and show yourself, you know, who you can be. But it's hard to do it when you're always in the city. So I'm going to read the quote real quick. It says, people love to envision you for when you was at your lowest or when they felt like when you were on their level. They never will accept the next version of you because it makes them question their own life. And I think like that was powerful for me because when I came back and I was taking off, I felt like people started moving a little different or looking at me different, and I didn't realize why. But yeah, like when you move up to a different level, people not always gonna like that version of you, but I think that's when you tap into your superpowers and such. So I thought that was just
I like
really
that.
powerful for me.
And a lot of people they want to see you do good, just not better than them.
Yeah.
And I always say this is a quote that I seen like 10 years ago. They said, "People will never believe in your plan until your plan becomes successful." And that's so true. You'll have family, friends who don't want to support you when you just starting out, and then you get popping, and now, oh yeah, I want to be a part of the team, but you know, I guess it just come with the territory, you know. But so Blam. So you said you hoping it'll be a cult classic. So
No, I ain't hoping. It's gonna be.
It's
No,
gonna
ain't
be.
no
I
hope in
believe
it.
it. I believe it.
No, for sure it's gonna be a cult classic.
So-
It's so Pittsburgh. You gotta think. The world doesn't know nothing about Black Pittsburgh.
they don't.
So when it hits, they're gonna be like, yo, this is totally different than anything I ever seen. You know what I mean? From the slang to how we move and that it's just everything is just Berg. And it's just time, bro.
Yeah.
It's time for the world to see Black Pittsburgh.
So
yo.
when is it dropping?
So we're gonna do a premiere this summer, but right now we're
Okay.
pitching it. So I just finished the trailer like 2 weeks ago. I ain't put it out yet. So I'm trying to figure out the best way I want to do it. So I got a private group on Facebook called Blam Fam.
I joined
So
it today.
I put a lot of information inside of Blam Fam when I'm doing casting. I don't put everything on my Facebook. I try to make the Blam Fam exclusive for them. You know what I mean? I do post stuff about Blam, but certain stuff, if I'm like, yo, Blam fam, what up? You know what I mean? It's a good community. We got like 2,500 people in there. But I want to show the trailer to the people in Blam fam first, and then probably do like a little trailer party. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do the trailer.
How
I'm
you
in the
wanna roll it
process.
out.
Yeah, how I want to roll it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the film is almost done. So right now, I gotta do like one little scene. It's basically the guy who's the ringside announcer. I mean the in-ring announcer. I just gotta shoot a clip of him saying the names of 2 tag teams. But other than that, the movie's probably like an hour and 40 minutes right now. I'm just adding the Foley sound. If you don't know what Foley sound is, that's footsteps. That's people snapping. That's if you got spatulas, you got to add that sound in there if it ain't that great. You know what I mean? And adding the score music. Now, score music is totally different than just putting a beat. A lot of people think, so I've been telling producers, like, yo, I need some score music. Dudes just sending me beats. I'm like, bro, it's not beats. It's a totally different world. So recently we got with James Webb, and Webb understands the score. You know what I mean? J-Pad understands the score. Banger and Stevie understand what the score music is. You know what I mean? But we've been over Webb's, and Webb uses AI. So he's been creating stuff with AI. You know what I mean? So
That's
we've been,
key.
So the hardest part really is the wrestling matches. You know what I mean? Because in the wrestling matches, we had to condense them from 15 minutes to about 4 minutes. So mind you, there's all types of sounds going on in the background. You got the ringside announcers talking. You got the people in the crowd talking. You got the ring noises. So when you cutting, so if I'm cutting from a scene to a scene, you got to think all that audio's cutting with it. You got 6 tracks of audio. You know what I mean? So that's the hardest part we dealing with right now is getting the wrestling matches with the audio cleaned up with the wrestling matches. Because when you cut the scene, it's like the audio, the ringside announcer was talking about this, but now it's in another part of the wrestling match because we had to condense them. You know what I mean? The matches. You don't want that much time. You got to get in and get out. But we almost done editing. We got to get color graded and then add the special effects because some stuff we got to blur out like the Enterprise signs and stuff like that. So it's all that little stuff like that, the little tedious stuff. But as far as like the movie layout, it's like an hour and 40 minutes. You know what I mean? So we probably trim it down a little bit more, go back, see, because it'd be one little second in scenes. You'd be like, damn, I could cut out a second here. You know what I mean? When you got little dead spots where it's like you ain't cut, you could cut that 2 seconds out. You know what I mean? So it's a lot with editing, bro. It's a lot like with editing film, just editing, period.
I can only imagine, man. I'm ready to see it. I can't wait.
I'm excited to see it too.
It's going to blow up in
Invite
Pittsburgh
us to the rollout.
Yeah. Because initially Blam we was just going to shoot a pilot. Because I'm like, bro, we could shoot a pilot for like 20, 30 minutes and pitch it. But once we start filming all those wrestling matches and we did, you know what I mean? I'm like, yo, we got 5 wrestling matches.
Yeah.
We got 5 wrestling matches in the movie. Like, real, you know, I mean, real deal, except for my main tag team and the tag team they're going against because it's a funny ass match. You know what I mean? But I got real wrestling. I got a girls wrestling match. I got 2 big dudes. I got a Royal Rumble. Yeah, it's called the Badass Blam Brawl. Yeah, I'm giving y'all a little bit. I don't want to talk.
You got a wrestler named Sid in there too, right? I saw Sydney.
She ain't wrestler. No, she just was helping. She helps with the production.
I was like,
yeah. There was a girl, Samaya, and a girl named Nymph Enchantress. But I got wrestlers coming. The girl Nymph Enchantress, she's like a dominatrix. So she got the mask with the spikes and stuff and the chain. She's from Baltimore. And the girl Samaya was from Cleveland. So I got wrestlers that's
from
not
all over.
Yeah, that's not basically just from around 3-4 hours away. Baltimore, Cleveland, DC. You know what I mean?
Outside of the city,
yeah, one dude's from Buffalo.
I can't wait to see this, man. This is gonna be crazy. So, besides Blam and the classic nostalgic IG reels and videos, what's next? J. Ruff Bun White.
Man, I'm gonna continue to do these movies, bro. Documentaries. I got a documentary I did in 2019 called Pittsburgh Underground Railroad. So I'm gonna revamp it. So actually, the lady who hired me to do it, Miss Martin, she's a historian. So she had this whole history of all these plaques we see downtown, like Martin Delaney. There's a lot of Black history people that you'll never hear about in school in Pittsburgh. So I'm going to revamp that documentary and re-release that. You know what I mean? So I want to get that done. I want to do some new interviews and some, like the audio I had back then wasn't that great, but it's like a 20-minute documentary. So I want to revamp that and re-release that. And just keep doing films, yo. Just keep doing films and keep telling our stories here in the burg, yo.
I was going to say that's important because right now, like the climate and everything, I'm not going like pull it to the politics fully, but they're trying to erase our history and dismantle our education system. So like having videos like this for us, for children and teens to look back on and be like, okay, like we were in this era and like, where were we? And like, what did we look like back then for them to be able to grow into that and to see that. That's so important, and you can't find that at our libraries. Yeah. You can find a couple pictures that the August Wilson does a good job with like Teenie Harris and, you know, August Wilson's archives and things like that. But on a more neighborhood level, like you walking down the street and being able to see things that represent us, that's going to be very powerful. So I'm excited for that as well. And then speaking of kids, you do a program where you teach kids as well, right?
So I do that in the summer.
Okay,
I do like 900 things. Yeah, Future Stars Media. I do that in the summer.
You a marathon, man. You just run this shit.
Every summer I do that.
That's beautiful.
I usually do it. I did it over youth places one year, but other than that, I do it through Camp Fun. It's a summer camp in Belle Suver ran by my man Vaughn Madden. So I do it through Camp Fun. I do short films with the kids. I teach them how to write scripts.
Okay.
I take them out, teach them photography. I let them take pictures of each other. I'd let them do little scenes from movies and stuff like that. I'd be like, yo, take y'all favorite scene from a movie and reenact it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I just do a lot of just hands-on with them. But I try to do a little technical stuff with them, but it just depends on the kids. Some kids want to be in front of the camera. Some want to be behind. I let them fly drones. So I just do the whole program with them.
That's what's up.
And they love it. You know, the kids love it, man. And there's a few kids. The one girl, she was in my class named Dawn A., Ray Niece's daughter. She goes to school for film and theater now from being in my program. She got inspired by it because I put her in a short film. You know what I mean? So if you could touch 1, 2, or 3, you know what I mean, however many, kids, they'll appreciate it when they get older. They can be like, I was in a movie.
Yeah.
Now they don't look at it like that. Yeah. But when they get older, they can be like, I really did a movie when I was a kid.
Back on,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. We were talking about earlier.
Yeah, they don't appreciate it now, but when they get older, they be like, man, I really was in a movie. Like it's a short film and it's cheesy and it's little kids and you know what I mean? The audio ain't but they did it. You know what I mean? So
that's powerful. I think it's always important, like, as we grow and hit certain, like, you know, pinnacles and different things, that we give back. So that's really cool.
Sure,
I was reading about that, and I was like, this is something I admire. I think we should always pass the torch down.
Yeah.
And you're creating those memories for them, like you said, for those moments where they're like, how much would you pay for that old video when you was a kid? Now they could be like, Mr. White, where that video at? Yeah, so that's dope.
I feel like we all owe the black community. I don't like when people are like, man, you don't owe nobody nothing. Yes, you do. Because somebody sacrificed for you to even be born.
Facts.
Like there's a thing, I seen a post on social media. It was like, it was probably like 400 people for you to be born. You know what I mean? For any of us to be born. Something like that. But it was like all these numbers for all these people. So all these people, what they went through for you to just be born, and you just going to be out here just doing anything, saying F everybody, I don't owe nobody nothing. No, we all owe somebody.
Yeah.
Like somebody helped, no matter who you are, somebody helped you, yo. There's not nobody you wasn't shooting in the gym with me. Nigga, somebody was.
Swear.
Somebody helped you, yo. There's your friends, there's no black person on earth that nobody didn't help them, bro. You sound, I hate when people, I'm like, you sound retarded, bro. Like somebody helped you do whatever you was trying to do, yo.
We all have help along the way. Man.
So we all owe it to help the community, yo. If you choose to, you don't.
See, I think that's a problem in the black community is too many people feel that way and we just can never progress, you know. So I think we all got to give back and we got to keep giving back. Kind of like with the whole DEI Blackout Friday we had in February. I was like, my biggest problem with that was I was all for it. I said that when your sister was on too. I was like, yeah, it's cool we were supporting blacks that day. We got to keep supporting blacks. We got to keep supporting each other every day, not just one day. We got to keep doing it. I get we got to start somewhere. But we got to keep it going too. So, you know.
But you got to think, though, about, you know, people saying support blacks, right? You got to say that in Pittsburgh. I don't have to say that when I live down south.
Yeah.
Because it's black people. You don't got to say that in Detroit. You don't go support black businesses. You don't have to say that. You have to say that in Pittsburgh. So you got to think of the dynamic of where we at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In other cities, you don't got to be down south support black businesses. Black people everywhere. Trillions of black people down south. They never left. You know what I mean? You got to say that in Pittsburgh, but you don't got to say that in most black. You don't got to say that in Philly. You don't got to say support black business in Philly because there's millions of black people. You know what I mean? So we're in a pocket. Pittsburgh is its own island, bro. We're over here on the Western PA. It's not East Coast. And we're in the Beverly Hills of West Virginia for real, yo. That's what I call it. There's nothing around us. So we're not in a demographic where it's like all these different cities. Cleveland's 2 hours away, but Cleveland's basically its own island too. It's all the way up the top. We're not close to anything. Philly, Jersey, New York, you got 30 cities over there in that one area, bro, with 50 million people. So our little 300,000 people 75, 80,000 black people, it's low, yo. Our numbers is low. That's what the problem is, yo. Our numbers is low. There's a lot more black people in the 80s when the steel mills and all that. Yeah. But I'm saying our numbers is low for black people here, yo. So we always feel it. You know what I mean? When I lived down south, I didn't feel none of that, yo. Yeah. I'd never had to say support black businesses or none of that. I didn't get pulled over by the police. I didn't have a night license. The whole time I was down in North Carolina for 10 years, I never got pulled over one time. Never. Police didn't bother you because it's so many black people. Yeah. You know what I mean? And people, you know, people get caught up in Democratic, Republic, and all that stuff. Yo, get caught up in who are the people who's trying to help build, bro. That's it. You know what I mean? You either got good people or they bad, bro. I don't care if somebody's a Republican, Democrat, liberal. I don't get caught up in that. Oh, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. I don't get caught up in that stuff, yo. I don't because I can't. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you either a good person or you ain't, yo. You got to think we live in a Democratic city, but guess what? We get locked up 90 going north, black people in the Democratic city. Yeah. It's not saying that, you know what I mean? So it's like, when you really look at it, it's like the crime in Democratic cities, the crime in Republican cities, all of them's not good, bro. All the politicians, bro. Like there's local ones can help you. You know what I mean? But if you look to the president, like, oh, the president's doing this, you got to focus on your local electives, yo. Them is the ones you built with, yo. Them is the ones you really built with, because you cannot do nothing on that Senate, you know, top level. That's not where we at. You know what I mean? The local people, you put money with their campaigns, you know what I mean? You got to be with the local people. And them is the ones that can help you, yo. Them is the ones that can help you. So it don't matter if they Republican or Democrat. If they trying to help and they see your vision and they trying to build, bro, you can't block people out because they might be on this side or that side. Because you block blessings.
I agree. But man, it was good having you, Jay. Ruff Bone, like, no doubt. Definitely got to have you come on again.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
there's so much stuff we could have bored. You know what I mean?
I know.
But I could go off for hours, man. So, but it was definitely, I definitely appreciate y'all having me on the show, man. It was great, man.
No problem, man. I've been wanting to get you on for weeks now. You know what I'm saying? I love how you're inspiring people, motivating people. Yeah. Keep up the hard work and the good work, and with the Berg hood slang every day. I look forward to them every single day. You know what I'm saying? Definitely inspiring, and keep doing what you're doing. Thanks, Sid, for coming through.
For sure. Where you want to tell them, like, your Instagram, your website, like all the places to find you, so people can tap in with the Berg. I don't think you was gonna say nothing. I was going to say.
I was just messing with you. No, it's all good. I was just messing with you, bro. You can find me at J White Digital, JAYWHITE Digital on TikTok. And on Instagram and on Facebook, I'm James S. White. You know what I mean? So just follow the page, man. I just post daily Berg content, man, just about the city, man. Just a lot of nostalgic stuff, taking us back to an era that no longer exists. The clubs, the neighborhoods, the people, the fun, the food, you know what I mean? So it's a feel-good thing, man. It got me in my bag mentally, because a lot of that stuff I suppressed out of my brain until I start thinking about it, you know what I mean? Because we live day to day, like, oh, you know what I mean? This is going on. But, you know, be able to take it back to that era. And now, like, I got all types of stuff written down. Like, man, I forgot about the ice cream, man. Hold on, man. You know what I mean? Forgot about food stands. What? Hold on, man. You know what I mean? So just, you know, having that nostalgic, man, it's just good, man. And like I said, I definitely appreciate y'all, man, coming on, bringing me on the show. Y'all doing y'all thing, man. Keep this up, man. Keep telling these stories. Keep putting out content, man, because you never know who might see this content and it might change somebody's life. It'll change your life, because you never know. You know what I mean? If you don't shoot no jump shots, you ain't gonna make no points, man.
Facts. I appreciate you coming through. No doubt. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, and we out.